All right, everybody. So first of all, thank you for being here. My name is Aaron Keith. I'm going to be leading the seminar today, and we have a couple other ones we'll be leading over the course of the weekend together. So first I want to start and just introduce myself. I know you guys are very busy, and you've been traveling here, so first, really thank you for being here. I know you have lots of emails and clients and things to be doing, so thank you for working things out to spend an hour with me today. My commitment is this is very valuable to you. We're going to have time for some questions as we go today, so please be thinking of questions to ask. We have a lot to cover in a very short amount of time, so I'm going to be speaking at a little bit of a pace. Is that okay with you? Mind if we move quickly? Yeah? I want to get as much in that's valuable to you in the time that we have, and I want to make sure that we have time for questions. So I'm going to speak kind of rapidly. If you need me to slow down or repeat something, raise your hand, just ask me. Fair? Great. So how many of you know who I am? Just how many of you know me in this room? Okay, we got a few. So just to give you a little context of my background, then we'll get into content. Like I said, my name is Aaron. I have been coaching for almost 15 years. I've been working with a little over 5,000 companies around the world. On an average week, I coach between 60 and 65 companies from all over the world. So I'm on the phone a lot. Started my first company when I was 19, sold it when I was 26. Started my coaching company a few years later when I was 24. Sorry, said that backwards. Started coaching when I was 24 while I was still running my first company. So I ran both of them simultaneously for a couple years, and at 26 I sold off and started coaching full time. So I work with all kinds of businesses. I'm not a real estate business coach. I coach all kinds of industries. So I'm saying that because some of the information that I might be talking about today might be different than what you've heard before, which is kind of the point of why they brought me here. Does that make sense? Okay, great. All right, so we're going to be talking about teams. So let's start with a question. Why team? Why should we build a team? What's the benefit of having a team? Make more money, leverage. Hold each other accountable. What else? One more time? Strength in numbers. Good. What else? It's easier to overcome market share. Handle more customers. Good. What else? What's that? Expand your reach. Yeah. There's a lot of pros to having a team. There's definitely some cons too. It's not an easy thing to do. So I'm assuming you guys are here because you want to learn more about that, so let's get into it. When I'm working with people around building teams, there's something very specific I like to focus on. The size of team matters. We're going to get into the different sizes today as we work. There's small teams, there's medium teams, there's large teams. That's kind of how I'm going to segment them today for the sake of this conversation. So something I believe is really important is how do you know what size team you should have? How do you know? Based on the amount of leads you have? Okay, fair. What else? Yes? The actual size of the market? Okay, good. What else? Besides winning on questions, by the way. What's that? What you can control. Okay, good. I like that. What else? Amount of money you want to make. We have a winner. The amount of money you want to make. When you're building a team, from my perspective, where it starts is what do you want to make? What is the sales goal that you're after? Build your team around what you're committed to hitting. Does that make sense? A lot of people build teams because they meet agents, they bring them on, and they're just acquiring more and more. More is not necessarily better. It's not necessarily functional. How many of you have built what you have right now and it was easy for you? Be honest. Okay, we have a few people. For the rest of us, it's not easy, right? Building a business is tough. It takes something, right? You got to be really grounded in your sales goal, what you want to hit. So you have to want that goal and then build the team around it. Does that make sense? Any questions about that piece? Okay. Now, something very serendipitous about today is we should be doing our annual planning right now. Based on the time it is, our annual planning should be done in about 5 days, which is great because now you guys can set your 2017 sales goal. As a real estate agent, your annual planning should be done by November 1. Why is that? Holidays? Okay. Holidays. Yes. It's the beginning of your year. Yeah, it is. Because realistically, if you get a lead November 1, by the time you close that lead and collect your commission, it's now the new year, yes? So technically, your new year starts in a couple days. That should freak out some of you who haven't done your planning. Yeah, there's coffee in the back. But seriously, so it's really great we're having this conversation today, because if you want to build a team, it starts with your sales goal. And now's the time that you should be setting your 2017 sales goal. Any questions on that? Does that make sense? All right, let's keep going. All right, so let's shift gears. We're going to start to look at the different sizes of teams. At the end of this, I'll open the floor for questions. So let me just rattle through the 3 different segments of team sizes that I often see, and then we'll start to deal with that. So small teams. A small team for me would be someone who's a solo agent who's looking to take that very next step in building their team. So here's what I usually see happen when we have a solo agent starting that process of building their foundation of a team. First is an admin assistant. How many of you do not have an admin assistant yet? Okay, a few of you. Okay, great. So your admin assistant is crucial to the foundation. This is one of your most important building blocks. Why is that? Why is your admin assistant one of your most important building blocks in building a team? Time management. What else? Centralized communication. Excellent. What else? Organization. Yes, leverage. Right? You guys said leverage earlier. Very well articulated. Yes, your admin assistant is going to strip you of the things that are not the highest and best use of your time. Certain emails are not the highest and best use of your time. Returning certain phone calls, not the highest and best use of your time. This is a really great structure for you. It allows you to do what you're better at, which is what? Selling. More specifically, marketing. You have to market to sell something. Without marketing, there is nothing to sell. You guys are really good at marketing and selling. So the more time I can give you, so that's what you're doing, the more your revenue is going to go up, yes? So it is, and I've been there. I own several companies. And hiring people is scary sometimes. We don't always have the money for it. That's part of being a business owner, is having the trust and faith in yourself that you're going to grow the team. Sometimes you got to throw the hat over the fence, yeah? And go get it. Figure it out. Hiring an admin assistant is absolutely a great investment. It will make you money. It will. It will make you money. The other thing that I'll throw in there is level 1, kind of that foundational team building. Find another agent who can support you. A buyer's agent, a showing agent. Find someone else who can you can offload some of your smaller clients to. Make sense? You have some rentals that come through. Small buyers, small sellers even. Find someone else who can support you. May not be full-time. They might have their other thing going on. That's completely fine, though. Any questions on that, or does that make sense? All right, good. Let's go to medium team. Medium team, this gets exciting here. This is a unique thing that I don't think most agents usually hear. One of the most important, I'd say, puzzle pieces to insert in a medium-sized team is a marketing director or a marketing assistant, whatever you want to call it. So same foundation as the small team, but now we're adding a marketing director. So now we have an admin assistant who runs the front office. We have a marketing assistant who's in charge of your entire marketing plan, who's in charge, like that is their life, is to embody your brand and to get the marketing pushed out on a consistent basis. How many of you are consistent at marketing? This is a loaded question. Right. How many of you are not consistent at marketing? Okay, how many of you are not going to raise your hand no matter what question I ask? All right, just checking. But it's true. Most of you don't have marketing plans, yes? And the marketing is not happening consistently. A marketing director will change your life, will make you a tremendous amount of money. We can talk at the end as far as pricing on what you think you can pick someone up for, employee-wise. This is a really valuable piece. Now, you now have a medium-sized team. We have an admin assistant. We have a marketing director. And now you're starting to acquire agents. So another, I guess, pitfall that I see a lot with people acquiring agents is the agents that they're acquiring, they like their smile. They brought them on. They had great energy. Come on to my team. and they're haphazardly acquiring real estate agents for team members. Anyone doing that right now, or have done that in the past? No one wants to raise their hand, but they're nodding. Okay, come on, let's be honest here. So what happens? You guys want to think of it this way. If you're building your team, build it like a professional baseball team or football team or basketball team. You wouldn't hire 16 pitchers or 14 catchers. That'd be insane. You don't need that many. But a lot of you are bringing on redundancy in your business. You want to strategically build your team. Does that make sense? Strategically do that. The way I usually, just in simple language, I usually look at my advanced agents, my mid-level agents, and my junior agents. Junior agents, they'll do anything. They'll knock on doors. They'll stand on the street corner and flip signs. They'll do whatever it takes. They're hungry. They want it. It's good to have some of them. Mid-level agents, very experienced, been in the business a while. They're diverse. They can do lots of things, board packages. They know how to do a little of everything. They're chameleons. Very, very useful to you. Then we have our senior agents. You can go travel. Someone's getting married and you got to go out of town for 3 weeks? Great. We have someone who you can trust. Their presentation is good. They know how to speak to your clients. You can trust them with your higher-end clientele. That's why they're a senior agent. You don't have to babysit them. They know how to fill everything out. They're not coming to you for questions. And often your senior agents have their own pool of clientele. Also a benefit. Make sense? All right, now we're going to do large teams. Large teams is everything I've said so far, plus, this is another kind of a unique position, a general manager. Not a lot of real estate teams have this. I don't know why. But if you're building a big team, get a business manager or a GM, someone in charge of your business development, someone who's running back office. So the way it would look would be this. You have an outstanding office manager running the front office. You have your GM running your back office. And those two people are literally running the company. You're acting as CEO, and you're out there promoting your brand and selling. Make sense? The GM or your manager, they're also managing your agents. They're keeping your agents on point, tracking their statistics, tracking your statistics, managing the marketing director, making sure the marketing is going out on time and on budget. They're tracking all those statistics and bringing them back to you as the owner so you can intelligently run a business. Clear? All right, that's my spiel on that section. Let's open up for questions. Yeah? What is the size of medium large? I don't think I can answer that, unfortunately, because it depends on where in the country you're talking. I mean, New York City compared to LA is going to be really different. So you're talking volume of sales? People. So small team, medium team? Small, medium, large. I mean, the largest team I coach is 37 people. So let me think where you would need the different line drawn. So a small team is probably going to be your admin, you, and probably one, possibly two agents. Medium is going to go from that up to, I would say, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably 8 agents, plus your marketing director. And large teams can just keep going from there. It also depends on volume, too, because it depends on your configuration. Part of what we're going to get into is your staffing configuration. That's what this is, by the way. What we're talking about right now, the technical term and how I interact with it, it's called a staffing configuration, so that you're configuring your staff consciously. So my recommendation to you, like to be specific, is find out what you want to do in sales. What are you really committed to doing in sales? And then building a staffing configuration around that so you can intellectually see and put on a board, these are all the positions I need in my company to hit that sales goal. Make sense? Because you're all different. This isn't going to fit all of you. I'm giving you the general version, right? All this has to be tailored to you. You're going to have to figure out what works best for you and your goals and how you're wired. Some people are wired differently. They don't do well with a lot of people. They need a small, condensed team, and that's where they're going to kill it. Make sense? Did that answer your question? Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, that's great question. And we're going to talk about systems in a few minutes as well. So we're going to get into systems next, which is going to answer some of his questions. So I'll answer some of it shortly, and then we'll get into the meat and potatoes when I hit the systems. If you guys want to retain agents, you have to treat this like a business, not that you're a real estate agent anymore. So if you guys have a team, how many have a team right now? I need to actually really raise your hand. I need to be able to see this. Okay, great. If you have a team right now, you have to understand that you have a culture. Whether you created it or not, there is a culture present in your team right now. And I coach some of the biggest teams in Douglas Elliman, so I know this as a fact. Most of you have never created a culture in your company. And that's a problem. If you want to retain people, why does Google have such a great retention? Anyone know? This is a slam dunk. Why does Google have such an amazing retention of employees? What is it? Culture. And everyone knows about their culture. Here we are, over here, and we all know about Google. It's famous. They have a famous culture. What have you guys done to build a culture around your business so you're retaining people? If they're not happy, they're not staying. And we'll get into some of the meat and potatoes of how to build that culture in a few minutes, but that's an important part. So the other part of your question was how to find the agents, or just how to retain them? It's the culture we manipulate your manager, buy them lots of cookies. It's hard to find really good talent. No, I'm serious. I don't know anyone who's had an easy time attracting talent. It definitely takes something. But you have to look at your brand. You have to look at you. Like, what are you giving off out there? What's going to attract people to you? So your reputation out there makes a huge difference on your talent pool. And just like any employee, I know that your agents are not your employees, but you're working together as a group. So it's kind of like that. You have to provide them something. If they're not getting value working with you, do you think they're going to stay? Would you? Would you stay with someone else if you're not getting value? No. You guys have to give them value. You have to mentor them. You have to be there for them. You have to support them. That's also part of your culture. So it comes back to culture ultimately. So his question was, what does the back-end person actually do compared to the front-end person? So the general answer is going to be this. Your front-end person is going to do your transaction coordination. They're going to do all your TC work. They're going to be admin. They're going to be answering phones, dealing with the emails. Your back-end person is a little bit more behind the scenes, actually. They're managing your agents. If your agents have questions, hopefully they're coming to them, not you. This person's that barrier between your agents and you, so you can be out there selling more. Because the bigger your team gets, the more they pull on you. Anyone experience that with a team? Your team is like all over you now. It's a new job. You have clients and your team. And there's nothing wrong with that because they need support. But it's nice to have a person in that place who can support them. That is their role to support them. So it's not a bother or a problem. It's more handled. Make sense? So that person is going to do a lot of things, and it can get very, very broad. It's up to you how you want to run your company. I like it when they cover all the statistics. Their job is to track our budget, so they're doing all the finances for us. They're dealing with our bookkeeper. They're keeping the eye on the marketing budget, so we're not overspending or underspending. They're managing your marketing assistants to know that the marketing is going out on time. The effectiveness of our marketing is hitting all of our metrics. They're going to track all of that for you. They're literally running the business in the back. So they're doing a lot of the non-client-facing duties and responsibilities. The whole point of building a bigger and bigger team is to reduce the things that you're doing and distill you down to only doing the things that generate revenue. As a business coach, I can answer it from my perspective. You're going to have to talk to a professional, obviously, in your licensed state. Right? So I'm California. Yes. So if I'm hearing your question right, you need a buyer's agent agreement with all of your agents. Is that what you're asking? No. All your agents are independent. They're all independent contractors. And my personal opinion, you should be incorporated. Depends on your state. California non-competes don't hold up. In a lot of states, they don't. In California, they're literally worthless. Unless it's a trade secret and you're an owner of a company, they don't hold up. Yeah, they're private contractors. I think in all states, in 1099s, I think in all states, I think they're private contractors. I don't know any states where you're employees. Yeah, unless you own your brokerage, yeah, they're all private contractors. Oh, sorry, do you mean your admin staff? Sure. Gotcha. So thank you. Your admin staff, your marketing director, any admin support, your general manager are employees. That way you can fully control everything. You pay them direct. Correct. Unless Douglas Elliman has a different way of doing things, I know they have a unique structure in how people get paid. That I can't speak to because I don't know the ins and outs of their structure, but I know you guys use a third-party payment structure. So I can't get into how that all works, but normally in a normal structure like this, yes. I don't know any. Unfortunately, I don't. I would ask legal at Douglas Elliman and see what they have for that. Unfortunately, my clients don't ask me for that stuff. I usually don't know because every state is so different. And because I coach people across the world, it's so variant. Yeah, sorry, I wish I could help on that one. What else? What else we got? Yeah, in the back. Love it. So let me say her question back so you can all hear it, and correct me if I missed part of your question. She's asking, in short, how do we get our team, our different team members, to work as a group, as a unit, versus as individuals that are almost compartmentalized away from the team? Yeah? So let me think about this for a sec. Do you mind if I answer your question through the next section? Great. All right, so let me check my notes, make sure I didn't miss anything. So we're going to go over 4 of some of the more primary systems that I feel you need to have if you have a big team, or even a small team. This will work with small, medium-sized teams. And I think we'll answer some of the other questions in the room through doing this. The first one I want to go over is your sales goal. So your sales goal is actually a system. It's not just like this thing that you have in your head that has some zeros and commas. Your sales goal needs to be, A, broken down by team member. Everyone on your team who's revenue producing should have their own sales goal. That sales goal, including the goal of the company, should be broken down by units. So in other words, I should be able to see on a board, if I walk into anyone's office or on a document, you should be able to pull up in a heartbeat. I should say, great, goal is 50 million. I'm going to make up some numbers here. Goal is 50 million. Average transaction size is 1.2 million. That's X amount of units sold per year. Then we'll know, great, and we need to go on this many appointments, which we need this many leads to go on that many appointments. I should see it all broken down for the company and for the agent. You guys get that? For the company and for the agent. So every single person on your team should have their own document on their computer. There should be a company document that you guys discuss on a regular basis that shows here's your goal per year, per quarter, per month. Here's how many units you have to sell per year, per quarter, per month. Appointments gone on, blah, 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 blah. Yes? Does anyone have that already? That was a slow raise. Okay. Few of you. That's fine. No, that's cool. I don't mind that. That's what a goal is, though. A goal is a stretch. All right, great. So why is this system so important? Why do we need our goals broken down that way? Why? I got a hand back here. It simplifies it, so what? Yeah, it breaks it down for us. It chunks it down. That's good. What else? It's a roadmap. Yeah, it tells you what to do in order to get there. Yeah. I'm going to paraphrase. She's saying that it gives you a little bit of a roadmap. You know exactly where you need to go. It's breaking it down by unit. It makes it a little bit more obtainable. A lot of the systems that I recommend have to do with mindset. So we're going to start to talk a little bit about mindset for the rest of this conversation, and so you can see how systems improve mindset. Because part of this conversation is not just building teams, guys. Part of what today's about is teams being effective. Building a team is one thing. Building an effective team is another. We're interested in effectiveness here. That's why you guys are sitting here. So let's start to deal with that. When we have our sales goals broken down by unit, by person, it does something to the brain. What does it do? Makes it real? Focus. Let's go with focus for a second. Yeah, sorry. Accountability. So when we, and this is going to bleed into the next system too. When your team and yourself have a written goal that everyone has agreed to, and everyone's focused on it, it does something. It's confronting, isn't it? Don't you get sometimes confronted when you look at that? Because your goal's here and you're here. It's confronting, right? Having it written down does something. What it does, it makes you deal with how committed you are. So do you mind if I ask you your goal? Are you cool with that? What's your goal? 800,000. Great goal. Yeah. How committed to that goal are you? Very? Yeah, that's fine. All right, I got that. So here's one of the benefits that this is going to do. So listen closely. So if someone was to ask me, Aaron, what's your sales goal? Like, here's the sales goal of the company. Great. How do you know if you're going to hit it? Ask me, how do I know if I'm going to hit my goal? How am I going to hit it? Because I said so. Because I fucking said so. And that's how it lives for me. The F-bomb lives that way in my head. Because that's how I relate to my goal. Over my fucking dead body am I not hitting my goal. If you don't relate to your sales goal with that degree of passion and commitment, it's not a goal. It's mental masturbation. You got to deal with that. You guys have to confront that. Because many of you want some really big numbers. You have really big aspirations, which is great. But wanting something and actually taking action consistent with what you want is very different. So if your goal doesn't live for you with that degree of passion, then I would say it's not a goal. And you need to go back to the drawing board until you can align yourself like that to your goal. And when you're working with your team, you got to do the same work with them. It doesn't work out for you guys to tell your team, listen, your goal is 2 million this year, 8 million this year. They have to be as passionate about that goal as you are, or it's not going to work. Because you're then going to be forcing them to do something. And you've all seen how well that works. Clear? Any questions on that goal? Sorry, yeah. You should be able to track that in your team. If you don't know that, you're busted. You guys should know that. Sorry. The question was, is there a place that you can go to find out what your statistics should be? In other words, how many leads does it take to convert to an appointment? How many appointments does it take to convert to a sale? You guys should know that information. If you don't, shame on you. Slap yourself now. You guys really should know that information. If not, go back and look at your stats. If you need just like a general, I do 50%. So if I'm working with a company and they don't know their information, we just go with 50%. 50% conversion ratio. You should be able to do that. You should be able to track it, which we're going to get to in just a second. All right, so let's keep evolving this conversation. So we have our sales goal. Everyone on the team is committed to it. The entire staff is committed to it. It's now up on a board. It's present. It's clear. It has to be up and present, guys. If it's not in your office, or if it's not on a document you're reviewing weekly, it's not a structure. It has to be reviewed on a regular basis. Yeah? Sure. So her question is how do you allocate the responsibility so it doesn't turn into a competition that this person is doing more than this other person? I don't think competition is bad. This is real estate. This is an aggressive industry, right? This isn't for the faint of heart. So I don't think competition is bad. I actually think it's good. I discuss it openly with in my other company that I own a medical clinic. In my medical company, we discuss all our numbers openly. Every doctor has to discuss their numbers openly in front of all staff, admin included. So I don't think that's a bad thing. As far as competition goes, everyone's goal should be individualized to them. They should commit to it. You should help them with that because their goal impacts the team goal. But this should be camaraderie. They should be pulling for their teammates to win. If someone's having a tough go at it that month, you should ask your other agents to get behind that person and help them out. If one person fails, we all fail in a team. That's part of the culture that we were talking about with him. Make sense? And I can answer more. See me at the end, I can answer a little bit more about that. What was the other one that we were about to go to? What was the other system? Let's do agent weekly promises next. So this is another document. I call it an agent weekly promise. The reason the word promise is in there is most people keep their promises to another person. Sometimes you can call it your weekly goals. Some people have an interesting relationship to the word goal, not always the most empowering word for some people. But most people try to keep their promises. This is a structure for you, the owner. It's a structure for all of your agents. There's 3 things that make up your agent weekly promise. First is their lead generation statistics. They have to be lead generating. We all do. They want to hit a goal, they've got to lead generate. It's going to list all of the lead generation actions they took that week. Clear? Next, there should be a box that shows all their KPIs, their key performance indicators, their statistics. Remember, we just got done talking about that, right? They're going to take their sales goal, break it down by appointments, leads, all of that. That's what we're tracking. We should be tracking that. So every week, every month, we're dealing with, did they produce enough leads based on how many leads they're needing to produce, yes? Okay. So we have the lead generation activities. We have our statistics or our KPIs, our key performance indicators. Last is our questions and topics that they want to discuss with you or discuss with their team. Very important. We got in this conversation a few minutes ago over here. You guys want to retain good talent? You have to answer their questions, give them the information that they need. So if every week your admin or your office manager or your manager, depending on the size of the team you have, is collecting these statistics, collecting these documents from all of your agents on the same day every day, you get to then review them prior to walking into your team meeting. You walk in prepared. You now know exactly who's struggling, who's having a tough go at it, what their questions are, what topics you need to bring up to inspire, motivate, and move your team. That's how you're going to get performance out of them. You want your team to really perform? Help them track their stats. Work with them on their stats. You can't browbeat them. You got to get behind them. You're a leader. Leaders lead. You got to lead them. You got to inspire them. You got to let them know it's okay to fail. Do it all the time. It took me a while to get here. That's what's going to encourage them to keep going. Make sense? What questions do you guys have on this document? No more YouTube for you. What else? What questions do you guys have on this structure? Yeah, a lot of people in this room haven't. So let me catch them up to what you said so far, then we'll keep bantering. So what he's saying is he hasn't done any of these things I'm talking about. He hasn't plotted out his growth. He hasn't done any of those things. He's not tracking certain things like that. He's just growing organically, really towing that sled, and it's working out for him. He's growing, he's building, he's developing. No, absolutely. Remember, what I'm saying is not, if you don't have these things, you're not bad and wrong. It's not going to hurt you. All I'm saying is by adding this is going to take you from good to great. You know, Michael Jordan, one of the best basketball players in the world. Do you know what he did at the end of all of his games? He would review footage. He'd review his tape. Why? Why would he bother reviewing his tape? He's the best basketball player in the world. Why is he looking at his tape? Right. He wants to see where can he improve? Where can he take what he's doing to the next level? So all we're suggesting is that if you're doing great, that's outstanding. By applying some of these things, and you don't have to apply all of them, you got to apply what resonates with you. Right? All of you are individualized. I'm very OCD. I like systems. I geek out on it, right? It's my thing. You want to talk systems? All day long, right? You guys got to find what's going to work for you. And by applying some of these things, all we're suggesting is that you can improve. It can make it that much more efficient, that much more effective. But again, you got to try it on for you. You know what I'm saying? This is not a one-size-fits-all. So I definitely appreciate that. Thank you. What else? Any other questions on this system, or should I jump to the next? So she's asking about compensation. And to really make people happy and keep that culture, compensation's a thing. What's the best compensation? What's the best model? Is it flat fee? Is it percent? Yeah? This is a really challenging question. We could definitely be here for an hour discussing this because there isn't, unfortunately, a right answer. There isn't a right answer that I've seen. I'll speak generally about it. Come see me at the end. We can talk a little bit more specifically about your specific team. So here's my kind of across-the-board chat about this. You want to have a structure, in my opinion, where you're incentivizing your agent. I don't like 50-50 splits because I don't think there's a lot of incentive in that. I think if you're going to procure your own deal, you should get 60%, the house will take 40. Because you're doing the work. It's your client, you did the work, you hustled, and you should be rewarded for your hustle. Where if the house gives you a lead, we're going to take the 60, you can have the 40. Because it's our marketing dollars, it's our relationships we spent years procuring. It makes more sense. Now, the 60-40 is simply an example in here. Because I think there has to be weighted depending on who procures. You, the owner. No, team leader. Yeah. I don't, sorry. When I'm talking about your team, you're the owner of your team. You're your boss. So the splits are after your split with your broker. I don't think it hurts as long as you have it documented why. You have to back up your why, which I've seen a lot of you have really random splits with all different kinds of people, and it's this weird integrity thing going on. It needs to be crisp and clear. This is the split I give you when you perform at this level. When you're at this level, here's the split you get. When you're at that level, here's the split you get. That's why earlier when I was saying if you have a 3 different tiers of agents, you have your senior agents, your mid-level agents, and your junior agents. The junior agents are maybe at a different split than your mid-level or your seniors. Your senior agents don't require a lot of your time. They have their own clientele. Great. Give them a better split. They've earned it. With your junior agents, you're spending a lot of time with them. It's your marketing dollars that are growing their business, usually. So in my opinion, yes. In my opinion, that should be public and clear and clean. It keeps all the drama out of the business. I'm an anti-drama person. I run my medical company completely open book. All my staff knows exactly how much we make. They know if we're losing money. They know everything. We run the company together as a unit. And the reason I do that is because everyone buys in. There's nothing hidden. People don't like it when it's hidden because they make up stories in their head, and that usually doesn't go well for you. So any questions about the, oh yeah. Come to the systems talk tomorrow. I'll answer that in some serious detail. The quick version is you need to have that documented. If there's a way that you guys want your clients handled, where's the system? Show it to me. It should be documented. If you walk into my medical clinic, we have a 3-page document that describes our customer experience. Ivan's one of my clients. We've talked about it. He's seen the document. If you guys want to see what that looks like, come see me at the end. I'll explain it to you. But you guys need to have a system written, documented, that describes exactly what your customer experience is and what it's not, so they understand. You can see me at the end, too. I can kind of get into a little bit more nitty-gritty, but that's the simple answer. All right, we're tight on time. I got to haul butt. Moving on. Meetings. Your meetings are extremely important. How many of you run regular? I mean regular means same day, same time, every week meetings? Hands? Okay. How many of you do not and know you should? Oh my gosh, everyone's lying. What's that? Got it. So he said, paraphrasing, his agents are so busy, they're supposed to be meeting on the same day at the same time, but they're not able to do it a lot of times because everyone's so busy and customers come first. Anyone think that way? Out of respect, I do disagree, unfortunately, because I think running your business, if you don't run your business tight, I don't think you'll have a business. I think you'll hurt your customers. There's ways around it. It's an hour meeting, people. No one's going to die. You have to work on your business and not in your business so much. So many of you are running this thing like real estate agents. You're not a real estate agent. I hate to break you the news. You're the owner of a business, owner of a company. You're a CEO. Run it like a business. If you want a team, you are now a CEO, in my opinion. You're the owner. You have to run it that way. So if you're not working on your business, you're going to have some problems. And I would assert, I've coached lots of agents, really big ones down to really small ones. The ones who crush it work on their business and not just in it. And one of the biggest excuses I hear is time. Are you a victim? No. Who controls your time? You do. You're grown adults. Put it in the calendar. I have really big teams that do huge volume, 300 million, 600 million. They make time on their Monday morning meeting. Everyone's there. Phones are off. Phones are left outside of the boardroom. They're in there for an hour, rain or shine, and that's how things get done. No excuses. It's the only way the business grows quickly. It's also how you're going to get your culture in. Because that's when you source your agents. You answer their questions. You train them. You develop them. That's when it happens. Because if they don't have a time that they can access you and be with you and have you be present, they're not going to feel that you love them, that you care about them. That hurts your culture. So what else? Questions about meetings, weekly meetings. What should we cover?
What should we cover?
Yeah, great question. So what you cover should be documented. This should be a system. You should have a weekly meeting agenda. It should be a typed-up document on your computer that all your staff has. Your weekly meeting agenda is going to show you everything that everyone has to cover. So you're not walking into your meeting emotionally figuring out, hey, what do you guys want to talk about today? Your weekly meeting agenda is going to tell you as the owner what you have to cover, what your admin has to cover, what your marketing director has to cover, what your agents have to cover. So everyone knows the meeting is ran the same way each week. And everyone knows what their sections are. So people come prepared. If you want to take that conversation to the next level, my staff has a meeting checklist. Their checklist is a short little checklist for them so they know what to bring to the meeting. My admin always brings our statistics. So she knows all the statistics to bring. Any customer problems we've ever had that week, she brings to the meeting as well. We had a bad Yelp review or something happened, she brings all that information for me. The doctors bring theirs. Everyone brings their stuff. As your team grows, your ability to be organized and efficient is paramount. If you want performance out of your team, this is really, really beneficial. What else? Any other questions on your weekly team meetings? All right, let's just open the floor. We're about close to the time here. Questions in general. Open up the floor, yeah. Yeah, so she's asking, basically, she's saying that the mid-level and senior agents, they're going to have some of their own lead flow. You know, the mid-levels are probably still going to be feeding off you a little bit. The senior, they might feed off you a smidge, but for the most part, they have their own clientele. How are we going to attract the new agents? Is that the question? Again, slightly challenging. There's no simple answer. The managers are kind of the people that I see doling them out. I also see that depending on the kind of business that you've built, what your reputation is out there in the world, has a lot to do with who wants to work with you. And everyone in here has their own style. You know, I see some teams that they have a lot of ISAs, inside sales associates, that people who are pounding the phones and they're very online driven. That's going to attract a certain young agent. We have some that are very different. They're relationship based, and that's their style of building, and they'll attract another kind of agent. So be very clear, what kind of team are you? What is your style? What's your trajectory? What are your strategies for growth? And those are the agents that you want to look for. What agents match that strategy? Does that kind of answer it? Other than that, it's hard to find them. You just got to put the word out. There's no easy answer for me to tell you this is exactly where you're going to find your agents. Sorry. Training. You need You guys have to be training your agents during your weekly meeting how to lead generate. You can see at the end I can go over like specifically how to lead generate, but there's only like 5 main ways of generating leads. If you break it down into sections, they need to understand how to do that. They need to know how to work by referral. They need to know how to decently navigate online. And they need to know how to network. They need to know how to build business alliances. They need to know that, and they don't. You're going to have to coach them and teach them that. If you have a team, you're a business coach, straight out. You're a real estate business coach. Gotcha. So no, so culture is not the word that would insert into that question. So yeah, so what she's asking is having small agents, medium-sized agents, and the different ways that she may market to her clientele personally, distinct and separate from how her other agents are going to market to their clients or just the public. Is there any problem with that? I would say no. As long as you're communicating really well with all of your agents and you know what your specific, I'll call it brand for all intents and purposes is, and you're marketing in that fashion, I think as long as you understand what all your other agents want to do that matches their skill set, because everyone has their own skill set, and as long as it doesn't hurt your brand, sure. But you have to make sure that someone's not going to be like, listen, I want to go throw, pool parties, and that's how I'm going to get clientele. You're like, wait. I have a luxury brand. If you're part of my team, I can't have you throwing pool parties. That would be incongruent with my brand. That would hurt. But if they want to go do some social media blasts because they really understand social media and they love it, as long as the content is on brand, good. So that's part of you working intimately with your agents is you can help coax them along. I probably wouldn't do that. I would probably steer over here because they don't necessarily understand what a brand is. And each one of you have kind of like your own little microcosm of a brand, your own personality. The entitlement issue? So she's asking how to approach the entitlement issue. Say you go out of town and one of your agents is covering something for you and maybe they're not getting as many leads from you as they may be expecting. Any of you have that issue? Yeah, time to time? Yeah, I see that a decent amount. As far as the splits go, I don't see that often, that part of it. That should be in writing. That should be a very, very, very clear agreement that these are all the different ways that you're getting paid. You've got to do it by scenario. Because vacation is a huge one. People want a vacation, and you're now covering someone else's, and it's weird. You have to have that all clearly broken out. So that's an agreement piece. That's just getting agreed on something. The entitlement, different issue. When you're breaking down your sales goal, when your agents are breaking down their sales goal, oftentimes you should say, all right, you need to do 10 deals a month. And in our team, we think we can flow you about 70%. The other 30%, it's your job to procure that. So if you guys break out all of your team members' goals, you can have a realistic conversation with them. I think you can break down about 30% of your goal you can produce on your own without us at all. I think the team can flow you probably the other 70%, or whatever number you guys want to assign. But you guys have to have an open conversation about that. You can't just set a goal like, hey, good luck, talk to you in a year, see how we do. You guys have to figure that out with them. Talk with them about that. How much of that goal do you think you can procure? Here's how much we think we can procure if we're doing our marketing right. That's one of the only ways to do it. It's not super crisp and clear. It's a goal, right? Just like he was saying. Sometimes you set goals and it takes you a couple years to hit those goals. It's the pursuit and it's having the conversations. Are you guys hearing the theme today? A lot of it is having conversations with your team, being organized with them. Talk through the statistics, get it on paper. Question, yeah? Yeah. Yeah, same thing. I mean, there's people in this room who have that exact configuration. There's 2 business partners that are sitting here today that I coach, and same thing. They have their admin assistant. We're working on eventually getting a marketing assistant. Yeah, it doesn't change anything. You just have 2 CEOs. Yeah, you just, even better, right? I mean, you have technically more time to have more leverage. We have 2 people going out and really crushing it, and we still have the support staff never changes. Yeah. Yeah, shoot.
On the marketing,
You can do that, yeah. So her question was, she has a profit sharing program right now with her staff, which is outstanding that you do that. That is rare. Well done. And she's asking, how do I feel about having an outside marketing company do your marketing? That's fine. If you want to find an independent contractor who can do this for you, great. What I care about is that you have a dedicated person who is managing your marketing plan, who's executing on those actions on a weekly and monthly basis, and they're accountable to you for that. So whether they're an employee or private contractor, I don't care. Yeah. For me, I want networking to recruit. Yeah, because I want to know the people. I want to know they came from a good source. Yeah. And also, just hiring-wise, I like to hire in groups. So when I do interviews, I interview in groups. That way I can put people all next to each other and see how they compete. I can see personalities. I can see who stands out. And if you have two really great people, you can almost put them together when you're asking questions and see who answers better. Because when you do an interview on Monday and one on Friday, they were both great. How do you know who to pick? Put them together. So we do interviews for us in 6 or less. That way it's less time for me too. Yeah, Ivan. You can go, so what we did is we go on to, if you type in free disc profile online, which is what we did, Tony Robbins has probably the easiest. Yeah, personally profile your staff. It'll make your life much easier when hiring, right? All right, guys, we're right on time. So if you want questions, come see me. I'll talk my ear off. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it.